culture. Yes. Yeah, the Indian culture. Yes. Okay. So here we have the return, to which I believe all of you have read the novel, right? Okay. Okay. So again, before we discuss further about the return, anybody would like to give me a very brief summary about what the return is all about?
The Indian boy, Ravi, he had a family conflict. So he tried to his own culture by be hardworking in the English school. So one day he can go to England to learn. So but still he did not forget about his family.
Yes, okay. Basically about his roots and identity as an Indian man. Okay. So, but after you have read the novel, The Return, right? What do you think the title here means? Who is returning? Who has returned? Ravi returned to what? His community, to Bedok. Return to Bedok, exactly, betul? Physical return, yeah, because he left for England, remember? He left for England and then he came back. So he returned. Anything else? Return to what? To his family, okay. So return to physically, Ravi has returned to Bedok. Okay, and also he has also returned to his family as well as to his community, and of course re-embracing his identity and roots as an Indian man. Yeah. Okay, so that's the return. So here is the the brief introduction of the return, in which this story is of course a self-discovery. The keyword here is self-discovery. Okay, we follow the return. We follow him since he was in primary school. Yeah, since he was in primary school of an Indian boy growing up in Malaya. So this story takes place, as we have discussed before, pre-independence. Okay, pre-independence to post-independence. So in between two eras, yeah, and gradually moving apart from his family and immediate surroundings. So this Indian boy, okay, he has discovered that, okay, slowly he is detaching himself from his own roots initially, okay. And during the moment of the separation, he assimilated with another culture, and he finds it to be more rewarding and satisfying rather than his own. What culture did he engage with? English culture, the British culture. And who influenced him? Exactly. Okay, he finds it more rewarding, more satisfying. What is so interesting about this British culture, in your opinion? Walking. He learned about hygiene. Yes. Okay. What else did he learn from Miss Nancy? Ethics about brushing his teeth. Yes, hygiene basically. Yeah, and he learned about these wonderful stories of fairy tales, about Snow White, about Hazel and Gretel. Okay, so all these stories are actually, he finds it very fascinating. Okay, in comparison to his own very brutal culture, I would say, very harsh, very harsh Indian culture. Yeah. So, and remember, he used to be worried about his father a lot. Okay, so there's a lot of physical abuse there. Okay, so that's why that could be one of the reasons why he finds the British culture is much more comforting, I would say. Yeah. Okay, and he was attracted to another culture as it offers him access to new privileged knowledge. Yeah. Okay, through the learning of English language. As we have established before, Ravi comes from a less superior caste or social class in the Indian community. Yeah, but however, through the learning of English language, he has he has actually upgraded himself. Okay, and this language, this English language, is a privileged language. Not everybody in the community, in his community, has the opportunity to learn English. Yeah, but Ravi is one of the lucky ones. And the literature and colonial language that he learned from the new culture provide roots of escapism for him by disassociating himself from his old self, and allows him to retreat from solid everyday reality. So how did he escape from this harsh reality of his community. Yeah, he isolated himself. He physically isolated himself. What did he do? He has this imaginary room, remember?
Yes.
He create an imaginary space, an imaginary room within his own home. Yeah, and he isolated himself. So that is the most one of the most significant act that he has taken in detaching himself from his own roots. Yeah, it's not to say that he doesn't acknowledge or he doesn't like to be an Indian boy. It's just that the culture, was very much disinterested by the culture or by the values that is being practiced by his community. So that's why he finds the British culture much more comforting and much more rewarding. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, and one of the issues portrayed in the novel is the issues of communalism or Tamil ethnicity, in which the story took place in Bedok. Bedok, where is Bedok?
Kedah.
In Kedah, yes. And sense of communalism can be seen as the community celebrates festivals such as Deepavali, Thai Pusam, and then there's also the memory, there's a reinforcement of communal memory by Priya Thai. Remember when she built her house and around, all over her house there's aspects of Indian culture that there's a column. Even the pillars of the house is also carved with this Indian, there's an Indian influence to it. So all these are actually drawing into the communal memory, okay, that reinforce the identity of Tamil ethnicity. Yeah. And however, the same festivals hindered the prospects of integration into a broader Malaysian society. This is one of the criticism of the novel, in which that the novel is so into Indian community. There's no integration with other community. There's no Malay people, hardly Malay people, and the Chinese man is only the one who sells Ravi, the toothbrush and the toothpaste. Remember?
Yes.
Okay. And so this is one of the criticisms. Okay, the author failed to integrate Ravi with other cultures. Okay, it's just that the author K.S. Maniam only focus on how Ravi is much more fascinated with the British culture. But again, this is not. This is not his fault, because Ravi is, the narrator is written based on his own personal experience. It's also based partial autobiography novel of K.S. Maniam. Yeah. Okay, next. Aspects of Tamil communalism such as caste restraint, the upward social mobility, occupational choice, and material success that the new circumstances of Malaysia warranted and encouraged. Okay, this one here because of the caste. Remember, Ravi comes from the lesser social class. Yeah, so he's not as superior as who? Ayah or Nanan, now Mr. Nanan, right? And because of his caste, okay, let's say if Ravi doesn't empower himself or doesn't actually, Karupi doesn't actually, Karupi or Kanan, yeah, the father, right?
Yes.
Okay, allow him to go to the English school, okay, he will always remain this lower social class in his community.
Yes.
Okay, he cannot climb upward, okay, he's not mobile, he cannot go out from his social class, yeah? And if he still remain in his Tamil school and doesn't learn English, he will remain as this Dobby boy. Yeah, okay, he remains as Dobby boy. Back then, okay, Kedai Dobby is being how to say,
No.
majority of Kedai Dobby is owned by Indian community. Okay, so if he doesn't learn English, he will remain as a Dobby boy. Because he learns English, he gets to be an English teacher, which is a very respectful position like that. Yeah, and of course, okay, when he managed to climb upward the social class, he becomes a respectful teacher, and of course he has money. Yeah, so he more or less, okay, Ravi becomes this successful young Indian man. Yeah, upon his encouragement that he has received from Miss Nancy as well as from his stepmother Karupi. That's not also the father, yeah, kan? Okay. Then we have issue from Priyatai. Okay, Priyatai's efforts at cultural reconstruction in the new land are illusory and sadly. Okay, what does Priyatai want?
A land.
A land, yeah, but can she get a land in the Why not? It's not that she's not a bumi, okay? She's not a citizen. She's not a citizen. She's not a citizen, yeah. But she dreamed of having a land, yeah. So she built this house. She worked so hard in this foreign land. However, okay, her effort was is almost worthless because she still until the day that she died, until her dying days also she cannot possibly own a land to call her own. Yeah, so that's why we say that it's merely illusion. The dream is merely illusion and doom. Bravely, okay. However, Priyatai also is a very strong independent woman. Yeah, who also have substantially influenced Ravi to become the man that he is. She tells Ravi never to let anything break his spirit, but she also fails to establish legal ownership of the piece of earth. She occupies in Malaysia for she had no papers, because she's not a citizen, only a vague belief and a dubious loyalty. Yeah, so this is Priyatai's fate lah. Okay, so what to do? Okay, she's not a citizen, therefore she's not permitted to own a land in Malaya. But she did tell Ravi, she not to let anything to break his spirit, and that is why Ravi is so strong. That is why Ravi is so persistent and determined to achieve his ambition to be an English teacher. Okay, he doesn't care. Okay, he doesn't care about his. Not to say he doesn't care. Okay, but he was willing to go against the odds. Okay, go against his family, go against his community, as long he gets to be away from Bedok. Yeah, that's what he wanted. And Priyatai would be one of his influence that could influence his character. And this is basically the elements in the return in which we deal with issue of growth. And growth here referring to whose growth? Ravi. Yeah, Ravi, because we follow Ravi from when he was still in primary until he graduated from University in England, yeah. And of course the issue of identity. Ravi is so conflicted. Okay, he's conflicted in the sense that he is still this Indian man, but he is so fascinated and she finds the British culture or the English culture much more alluring than his own Indian tradition, yeah, or Indian values or Indian culture. Yeah, so there's a clash of identity there. But at the end, we can see that Ravi still retained his identity as an Indian man, but with a much more open outlook. Yeah, and of course, culture. Culture here referring to the Indian culture. Okay, there's so much elements of Indian culture stated in the novel. Okay, so here we have characters, Ravi's family. So we have the Ravi, the main character, and we have the grandmother, Priyatai. We have the stepmother, Kalvi. We have Naina, Ravi's father, and the mother. Okay, so each of them has their own role to play in shaping Ravi to be who he is. Okay, so Priyatai, Kalvi, Naina, mother, all within his family, Ravi gets different kind of influence. Yeah. So from Priyatai, the spirit, this determined spirit of Priyatai. From Karupi is the one who was responsible to send Ravi to English school. How about Kannan? What is his role in Ravi's life?
Support.
Was he supportive?
Not really.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Kannan is being is also we can see he's conflicted. Okay. He's a businessman. Yeah. Okay. He's a businessman. He owns Adobe, right? Okay. But at the same time, he wants Ravi to be successful. Okay. But at the same time, he feels that Ravi is abandoning his family. So that's why Kannan cannot actually support Ravi all the way. That is what the conflict there, because Kannan wants to keep Ravi within the family business. Okay, he wants to continue the business. He's not his elder son, which is Ravi. Betul tak? Okay. And then we have the mother, okay, who being a typical mother who supports Ravi. Okay, but at the same time, mother is also trying to tell Ravi, please do not forget to serve your family. To what do you call that? Which is in contrast with Karupi. Betul tak? Mother and Karupi has very two different personality. Betul? Okay, Karupi is much more
Period.
yes, she's louder. She's louder and she's much more and she's not afraid to express her thoughts. Okay, but mother is much more refined and much more how to say, much more inferior lah, okay, in comparison to okay, next. Okay, here we have the description or the characterization of Ravi, who is undergoing journey of self-knowledge and reconstructing his identity. He enlightened his life through mastering the English language, and we cannot deny that he felt alienated and isolated from his community due to clash of values and outlook. Okay, so that is Ravi. That is Ravi's conflict. So man versus man ke, man versus society ke apa ni? Man versus circumstances ke apa ni? Yes, man versus society. Yeah. And then we have Kanan and Naina, who dominates Ravi's early life and childhood. A resourceful and responsible family man. Do you agree on that? He's a responsible man, Kanan or Naina?
Yes.
Okay. He can be a bit irrational, and also he shared, prioritized a dream, obsessive dream of acquiring a house and a land. What happened to Naina at the end? Died due to fire. Yes, she committed suicide. Yeah, by burning down his house. Exactly. And Priyata, her Indian identity remained intact, given by the symbols of Hinduism. Strong and resilient woman, and she died tragic, almost a sad death. Died unholy upon her failure to earn a home and land and to shape her identity in Malaya or Malaysia. Okay, so however, the spirit, okay, because of her strength and her resilience, okay, that particular characteristic is reflected in Ravi. Yeah. Okay, next we have Karupi. Okay, Karupi, in contrast to Kanan, okay, she is actually a strong matriarch figure. What do I mean by matriarch figure here? Yeah, woman's power, okay, or woman's authority, yeah, who helps to keep the family and business afloat. Betul tak? Karupi is actually the mastermind of the Dobi business. Yeah, she keeps track of the ledger, okay, money in, money out. Okay, she was the one who is in the know of how the business is being run, and supports Ravi's decision to change his life. Was Karupi supportive of this? When Ravi wants to go to English school, or Ravi wants to go abroad, when Ravi wants to, wants to study very hard so that he can get scholarship, was Karupi support? Did Karupi support him? Yes. Okay. And mother, in contrast with Karupi, she is a much more traditional depiction of an Indian mother who cares for her son, quietly fulfilling her duties as a mother. Basically, that is the role of the Ravi's mother. Yeah. And we have characters that represent colonial representation, and as well as authority. We have Miss Nancy, who introduced Ravi to what? Indian culture, in particular, learn about hygiene. Yes. And Mr. Menon, who is he? Ayah. What is wrong with him? Why don't we like him? Do we like him?
No.
Why not? Yeah, he always bullies Ravi, right? And he doesn't. And Mr. Menon is the one who has a superior social class. Okay, in comparison to Ravi's family, Mr. Menon is much more superior. And being this superior man, he knows that when Ravi equipped himself, empowered himself with the knowledge of English, Ravi will be able to outdo him. So that's why he doesn't like the idea of Ravi going into English school and basically empowering himself. Okay, so however, Mr. Menon is trying to put Ravi into Naina at his place. Okay, you as the lower social class, you should stay there. Okay, you cannot outdo me, you cannot overcome me. Okay, that's what Mr. Menon, the impression that we get from Mr. Menon. Yeah. Okay, next we have Miss Nancy. Okay, the characterization of Miss Nancy. She is orderly. Okay, she likes things in order. She's very hygienic. She emphasizes on cleanliness, and she introduced Ravi to the world of colonial land. So that's when she introduced Ravi to the stories of the fairy tales, about stories of Snow White, Hazel and Gretel, as well as the 4 seasons of colonial land. He learns about winter, spring, all these beautiful aspects of colonial land, which Ravi just fell in love with. Okay. Okay. Next we have Mr. Menon, our favorite character. Okay, he is the cruel, devious, bullying figure. Do you agree on this?
Yes.
Okay, he reinforced the rules of caste and class. Okay, that's why he doesn't like Ravi to empower himself with English language. Dismissing Ravi's educational plans as useless dreams. He dared to say that you want to be an English teacher, you want to go abroad, all these dreams are nonsense. And Ayah demonstrated the caste, the caste is more burden than blessing. Okay, so that's why, one thing about being in the Tamil community, there's a very obvious social class difference in the society. Okay, that's Mr. Menon. And then here we have the transition, the growth that we talked about just now in regards to Ravi. First, we have reconstruction of boyhood, where Ravi starts to learn about hygiene, where Ravi starts to be introduced to the values of the colonial land or to the aspects of the colonial land. In between, when he becomes a teenager, okay, then he has he experienced the transition of culture from this very confined Indian culture to a much more globalized culture. Okay, where he went abroad. And the transformation into adulthood when he becomes more knowledgeable and modern upon the education that he received in England. Okay, so the issue of growth covers these 3 aspects here: reconstruction, transition, and transformation. Yeah? Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Next. Okay, and the themes. Okay, we have several themes for the novel The Return. Of course, transformation of identity, self-discovery, sense of belonging or homeliness, the issue of land, when between that has made a priority in the life of Priyatai as well as Naina. Yeah, and clash of social class, where there's a caste system within the community within the Tamil community. Alright, okay, and then lastly, these are all the sample essay questions that could be later asked in your assignment as well as your final exam. Alright, okay, so do we have any questions in regards to the return? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, okay, so that wraps up and we shall meet in a different class. Okay?